Suspension failures don't start with big bangs. They start with tiny signs drivers ignore until the repair bill explodes. I've seen $3,000 rebuilds caused by habits that take seconds to prevent. Most mechanics never warn you, and most drivers learn too late. Today, I'll show you the 17 simple tricks that make your suspension last practically forever. Miss one, and you'll pay for it. Let's get into it now. Trick number 17. Don't let rubber seals crack. When rubber dries out, flex disappears. And when it can't flex, your metal parts fight each other until one snaps first. Bushings, boots, and seals are the real shock absorbers. They take every pothole, every speed bump, every winter freeze. Once they harden, your suspension doesn't cushion anymore. It just collides with the road. Heat, sun, oxygen, and road ozone are the enemies. Think of rubber like skin left in the desert. It wrinkles, dries, and splits. Those cracks don't stay cracks. They become clunks, shakes, and invoices. A T205 keeps rubber soft and alive. No hype, no shine. It restores flexibility, like lotion for suspension joints. Skip the shiny stuff. Armor, all and tire dressings look great, but act like dust magnets. Dirt plus trapped moisture turns rubber brittle twice as fast. Application is simple. Remove the tire. Spray AT205 lightly on every rubber part. Steering boot, strut mount, torsion bar, CV axle, control arm bushings. Let it soak. No scrubbing, no elbow grease. Do this once or twice a year. That tiny ritual can stretch suspension life from 50,000 miles to nearly 100,000. 5 minutes with a spray bottle, or $1,300 to replace a single bushing. Your call. If you keep rubber soft, the next move keeps stress off hidden joints. Trick number 16. Don't crank the wheel all the way. Nothing good happens as you crank the wheel until it physically stops. You're not turning tighter. You're forcing metal, fluid, and rubber to hold their breath under max pressure. Tie rods stretch. Bushings twist. Power steering pumps scream at 1,300 PSY just to keep the wheels pointed. That last inch of turn? Pure punishment. No handling benefit. Now mix that habit with rough roads. Potholes become uppercuts. Gravel becomes sandpaper. Every bump hits harder because your steering and suspension are already stressed from full lock abuse. Short version: smooth turning equals long life. Hard turning equals early death. The fix is hilariously easy. Turn until the car responds, then stop before the mechanical stop does. Tiny gap, huge savings. Parking garages? Slow your wheel, not your heart rate. Driveways and U-turns? Don't jam the wheel against its limit like a safe you're breaking into. Treat suspension like knees. You can sprint, jump, pivot, just don't twist them to the floor and hold. Controlled steering doubles component lifespan, prevents $3,000 rebuilds, and keeps your ride silent instead of squeaking like a shopping cart. Ease the wheel, save the car, protect your wallet. Up next, lighten the load, and you'll see why weight isn't the only enemy. Trick number 15. Remove excess trunk weight. Every extra pound in the trunk sits there 24/7, compressing springs, tiring shocks, and flattening bushings. Not during bumps. Always. That constant downward force is like wearing a heavy backpack to bed and wondering why your spine hurts in the morning. Drivers forget what's back there. Old tools, boxes from last month, gym gear you never used. Half the country still keeps a full-size spare, even though only 40% in the US still need one. And just 3% in the UK do. Heavy cargo doesn't just sag suspension. It slows acceleration. It ruins handling. It chews through rear tires faster than you realize. Springs then start to bow. Shocks leak early. Bushings split under constant compression. That's how a $0 cleaning job becomes a $1,200 suspension bill. Unload the trunk. Keep only essentials. Jack, inflator, emergency kit. Everything else? Gone. Your car will sit higher, ride smoother, steer sharper, last longer. Weight kills suspension quietly. Lighten the load, and your suspension wakes up like it just dropped 10 years of stress. Once your car's free of ballast, alignment becomes a game changer you can't ignore. Trick number 14. Never delay wheel alignment. Even tiny misalignment strains suspension like lifting weights constantly. Here's the brutal truth. Uneven tires don't just wear. They twist ball joints. They bend tie rods. Bearings groan. Control arms take a beating. Your suspension geometry slowly warps. One day, your smooth drive feels like bouncing on a trampoline. Most drivers ignore this. 70% fear being scammed, 35% delay alignments. Meanwhile, damage quietly stacks up. Bushings, shocks, arms, all silently screaming. The good news? Fixing it is cheap. A $150 wheel alignment beats $1,000 plus in repairs. It's fast, painless, and keeps everything in balance. Here's a pro move. Schedule alignments every 3 months. Even better, check alignment when rotating tires or changing oil. Notice rough steering or uneven road feel. Don't wait. Do it sooner. Aligned wheels equal even tire wear, balanced suspension, smooth ride, fewer repair bills. A small investment now saves thousands later. Think of it as giving your car a regular chiropractor visit. Your suspension will thank you, and your wallet will too. Moving on, tight bolts may seem boring, but the next step proves how loose ends kill quietly. Trick number 13. Tighten suspension bolts. Loose bolts don't just rattle, they destroy your suspension silently. Every vibration, every bump, slowly works them free. Off-road drivers suffer even more. Bolts loosen 38% faster on rough terrain. Once they loosen, everything suffers. Bushings twist, ball joints wobble, tires wear unevenly, alignment goes out of whack. In extreme cases, your frame could crack or parts separate entirely. A nightmare that costs thousands. The fix is stupidly simple. Retorque your suspension bolts every tire rotation, about 5,000 to 8,000 miles. A quick $100 job keeps your suspension tight, stable, and aligned. No guesswork. No, maybe it's fine. Don't skip it because it's boring. Loose bolts are the invisible assassin of your car's longevity. You won't see damage until it's expensive and inconvenient. Do not expect any dashboard light. Think of it this way. Tight bolts equal smooth ride. Loose bolts equal clunks, uneven tires, and surprise repair bills. A few minutes now saves thousands later. Retorque is cheap insurance. Your suspension works like new. Steering stays crisp. Bushings, ball joints, and frame thank you. Still with me? The following habit keeps the first line of defense alive. Trick number 12. Keep your tires happy. Tires are your suspension's first line of defense. They absorb shocks before your bushings, springs, and shocks even feel them. Unfortunately, more than 80% of drivers ignore tire pressure until a flat forces them to care. Underinflated tires increase impact forces by 35%, pounding your suspension every time you hit a bump. Wrong tire sizes? They shorten shock lifespan by 30%. Neglect your tires, and your suspension ages 20% faster. The fix is ridiculously simple. Check your tire PSI weekly. Use the sticker on the driver's door for exact numbers. Inflate to spec, never under, rarely over. It costs nothing but saves hundreds in suspension repairs. Proper tires also mean better handling. Corners feel sharper. Acceleration is smoother. Braking is safer. Your fuel economy thanks you too. Flat tires drag efficiency down without you realizing. Think of tires as suspension insurance. Healthy tires means healthy shocks, bushings, and control arms. Neglect them, and every pothole is a punch to your wallet. Trick number 11. Rinse salt off undercarriage. Every winter drive or coastal trip leaves corrosive grit underneath. Brake lines, control arms, and bushings quietly eat it up. Rust starts small, spreads fast, and suddenly you're staring at $5,000 plus repairs. This isn't hypothetical. Many cars fail early from hidden corrosion. Solution? Wash underneath. Don't skip it. Many drivers fall for the myth that undercarriages don't need cleaning. Sometimes your car needs a full SPA treatment. Snowy regions or coastal areas should rinse weekly or monthly. Lift the car, blast with a pressure washer, sweep with a water broom. Done. It's fast, cheap, and stops rust before it bites. A neglected undercarriage means shocks and bushings fail prematurely. Your ride gets sloppy. Handling feels off. Parts fail early. A proper rinse keeps your suspension strong and brakes safe. Small effort now prevents massive headaches later. Skip it, and every salty drive chips away at your wallet. Clean undercarriage means longer life, smoother ride, and fewer surprise bills. Do this consistently, and your suspension outlives most cars on the road. However, When rust stays away, your steering fluid does more than just turn wheels. Trick number 10. Check power steering fluid monthly. This isn't just about turning the wheel easily. The fluid lubricates tie rods, control arms, and steering knuckles, your suspension's unsung heroes. Dirty fluid? It's like a 1,400 PSI metal cutting jet, shredding parts from the inside. 8 in 10 drivers do not even know the fluid exists. What we know is oil and the washer, maybe coolant as well. Ignore it, and repairs skyrocket. Top it up if low. Use the right type, no mixing. Change intervals, every 3 years or 50,000 miles. Rough roads, dirt or dust, move it up. Clean fluid keeps movement smooth, handling crisp, and suspension stress low. Skipping this is like letting sandpaper grind inside your joints. Easy fix now, or thousands later. 2 minutes a month, a lifetime of protection. Your suspension doesn't call for help, it whispers. Listen, check, top off. Avoid surprise failures, preserve steering, and keep every ride smooth. But lubricated joints are only part of the story. Balance comes in pairs. Trick number 9. Replace suspension parts in pairs. Springs work as a team on each axle. The front pair share the load. Rear pair do the same. Replace just one, and that team falls apart instantly. A new spring sits higher and stiffer. Its partner, old, sagged, tired. Result, uneven ride height, sloppy cornering, and weird body lean. You'll feel it every turn. The car tilts differently left versus right. Handling gets unpredictable. Too much roll on one side. Oversteer one day, understeer the next. Emergency lane change, not fun. And the wear starts stacking. Bushings on the weaker side work harder. Shocks on that corner die faster. Tires on the sagged side scrub unevenly. Noise starts, damping fades, and balance disappears. If one spring failed from rust or age, the opposite side is close behind, just quieter about it. Smart fix? Replace both on the same axle. Front pair together or rear pair together. Only replace all 4 if the car has high mileage and visible corrosion. Matched springs mean matched balance. Smooth ride, clean steering response, no tilt, no drama. With both sides working together, tiny chips could still hide massive danger. Trick number 8. Touch up chipped spring paint. A tiny paint chip can take down a whole spring. Not dramatic, just true. Bare metal meets salt, moisture, winter grime, and rust moves in fast. Once corrosion starts, the coil weakens from the inside out, and when it finally snaps, it doesn't politely drop. It spears the tire in over half of failures. Yes, hole straight through the sidewall, instant blowout, roadside panic. The scary part? This is common in snow states and coastal zones. Salt accelerates metal decay like turbo mode corrosion. Fixing it is almost boringly simple. Spot a chip, handle it early, wire brush the rust. Brush on rust converter. Finish with flexible coil-safe paint. Done in minutes, not hours. Want extra insurance? Slide a protective sleeve over the lower coils. Even Hyundai issued recalls just to add those sleeves, because the problem is that widespread. Cost breakdown is painfully logical. $10 in paint now, or $400 plus a tire later. One Saturday touch-up or one dramatic tow truck scene, you choose. Smooth coil, sealed steel, zero rust entry points. Trick number 7. Missed your suspension before winter hits. Salt doesn't fight fair, it attacks every hidden part. Not loud, not dramatic, just slow metal rot that wins over time. Coil springs weaken. Bolts fuse in place forever. Control arms crumble like old toast. That's how a normal winter becomes a $2,000 suspension job. And here's the twist. Brine isn't just in snow states anymore. Cities spray salty mix before storms now. Warm weather drivers get hit without even realizing it. Corrosion has gone nationwide. Your defense? A simple fall ritual. 10 minutes with a corrosion mist. Fluid film, WD-40 Specialist, lanolin sprays. They're like winter armor. They creep into seams, stay sticky, and block salt crystals from chewing bare metal. Missed the coils, missed the bolts. Missed the control arms and subframe edges. Light coat, full protection. No need to drown the parts, just seal them. Why bother? Because a rusted bolt isn't stuck, it's expensive. A $10 piece can turn into hours of cutting, drilling, heating, swearing, and paying. It is like a sunscreen for suspension. A few sprays now, No seized parts later. Protecting coils keeps bolts safe, but some links will still whisper for attention. Trick number 6. Replace end links before late. Silence isn't safety. Sometimes the quietest part causes the loudest bill. Those little sway bar end links? They look harmless. 2 tiny joints, 2 tiny bolts. Yet when they loosen even slightly, your whole suspension feels it. A worn link doesn't just clunk. It transfers every bump straight into strut mounts and brackets. That means metal slamming metal instead of cushioned movement. One cheap failure stressing the expensive parts around it. Here's the timeline no driver sees coming. First knock, misdiagnosed shock, pointless repair. Louder knock, broken mount. That's how a $160 part becomes a $700 weekend-ruining repair. Most end links fade around 70 to 90,000 miles. Rust Belt drivers, they go faster. Salt dries the joints, then the play begins, then the noise arrives. Don't wait for the clunk. Replace both links on the same axle. Balanced, matched, no surprises. Use greasable aftermarket links if you can. A few pumps of grease means years of silence. Torque them with the suspension loaded, wheels on the ground, weight on the springs. That locks them in at true ride height. Do it early, and nothing else gets dragged into the failure. When end links don't clunk, water can't quietly drown crucial suspension points. Trick number 5. Clear cowl drains twice a year. Rainwater should flow down hidden channels at the base of your windshield, but one clogged drain turns that neat plumbing into a bathtub over your strut towers. Water sits, metal soaks, rust begins. And this is the worst type of rust. Quiet, trapped, and directly on top of suspension load points. Strut mounts corrode from the inside. Bearings seize. Sway bar links wear twice as fast because moisture never leaves. Many drivers don't notice until the creaks start. By then, the tower metal is flaking like old paint. Shops call it tower rot. And yes, bills reach 4 digits easily. The fix isn't dramatic. No tools, no ramps, no shop visit. Twice a year, spring and fall, clear those drains. Use trim line, weed whacker string, or compressed air. Push through gently, never forcing. You're clearing a straw, not digging a trench. 5 minutes keeps gallons from soaking the most expensive suspension point in the car. It's the cheapest seasonal habit with the biggest payoff. Do it now, before your suspension ever knows what a puddle feels like. Trick number 4. Ditch rubber band tires. Beauty shouldn't break bones, yet low-profile wheels do exactly that. That razor-thin sidewall deletes your suspension's cushion. No flex, no buffer, no mercy. Every pothole lands like a sledgehammer on shocks, bushings, mounts, and bearings. Your tires used to absorb hits first. Now they just transmit pain. Oversized rims add weight too. More mass means harder impacts. Steering geometry drifts. Alignment won't stay true. Bearings wear out early and start humming like a dying blender. Shops know this pattern cold. Shocks leaking before 45,000 miles, control arm bushings cracking, and bearings failing twice as fast. Drivers blame bad roads, but the problem is style over physics. The fix is not complicated. Stay near factory wheel size. Keep sidewall height above 45 series. If you insist on the show look, use forged wheels. Stronger, lighter, kinder. Result? Smoother ride, longer suspension life. No annual front-end rebuilds just to keep the stance. Bold rims don't have to be a financial trap. We're down to the final 3. Thicker tires cushion blows, and worn shocks reveal exactly why style costs money. Trick number 3. Swap shocks before they beg. Every mile softens the shock dampers a little more. You stop noticing the extra bounce until it bites. By 50 to 60,000 miles, worn shocks can add 25 feet to your stop. That's an entire parked car you don't clear in panic braking. Not dramatic, just physics and momentum. Then comes the silent sabotage. A BS and ESC need grip to function right. But if your tire lifts even a heartbeat after a bump, your systems misread traction and respond late. That's why steering suddenly feels vague and braking feels unsure. Cupped tires follow. Bushings work overtime. Ball joints take the hits your shocks used to swallow. Ignore it long enough and you're buying parts you didn't plan on. The smart play? Swap all 4 around 60,000 miles. Not when they clunk, not when they leak, before they beg. Fresh dampers reset everything. Clean weight transfer, sharper steering, shorter stops, and no suspension roulette every time the road turns ugly. This isn't an upgrade. It's a time machine back to day 1 control. Trick number 2. Lift less, stress less. During long-term storage. Stored wrong, your suspension ages faster than milk in the sun. Bushings aren't muscles. They can't hold a stretch forever. They're bonded rubber sleeves designed to flex only when moving. So when a car sits on jack stands with wheels dangling, those bushings stay twisted, stretched, and frozen in tension. Leave them like that for a month? Micro cracks start forming. Leave them all winter? The rubber splits internally, alignment drifts, and squeaks arrive on day 1. And the worst part? You'll blame the shocks or the springs, when it was storage all along. The smarter move: support the suspension, not the body. Place blocks under control arms or axles. Let the suspension rest at normal ride height, exactly how it sits on the road. That single choice protects. Bushings from tearing, shocks from overextending, springs from sag memory, and alignment angles from creeping off spec. Fleets do it. Museums do it. Anyone who stores cars professionally does it. 15 minutes now. Save $1,600 later. No mystery noises. No early leaks. No suspension aging just because it sat still too long. Your car may be parked, but its parts don't need to suffer for it. And finally, even parked, suspension has secrets, and how you hit bumps decides the final story. Trick number 1. Let the suspension breathe before the bump. When you stay on the brake right at impact, the front end dives. Weight dumps forward. Springs compress early. Your shock travel disappears before the wheel even hits the pothole. So when the rim finally meets that sharp edge, boom! No cushion, no flex, just raw force. And it's not small force either. Impact tests show 40 to 50 grams at the hub, even at neighborhood speeds. That's enough to bend rims, crack bushings, and make ABS sensors lose their mind for days. Your suspension was designed to move, not sit squashed like a soda can. Breaking through the crater freezes it in place. Then every hidden hit goes metal to metal. Lift off the brake 1 second before impact. Let the weight shift back. Let the springs rise. Give the shock room to breathe and react. Feels like a tiny driving habit. Actually protects thousands of dollars in parts. Smoother ride. Less bushing slap. Zero surprise alignment bills. Release before the bump, and your suspension finally gets to do its job. Not take punishment it can't escape. If you play it smart, your suspension can outlast your car's warranty and dodge costly repairs. Now, if you really want to go over 500,000+ miles, watch the next video on things only smart drivers do.